Good morning. Oh boy. Today I waited until the very last minute to light the big candle in the back so that maybe it will burn for the entire duration. I lit it probably more than 10 minutes in advance yesterday and it gave it too much time. So maybe it'll maybe it won't sink into the melted wax this morning, a little piece of charcoal that I have embedded. And I talk about such nonsense because that's what I do. I talk about everything. Today, the title that I've selected is 2012 Predictions. And the little blurb is, last night a small group of us gathered here at the Mary Horgan Center to discuss what we thought would be happening this year or in this general time period. It started out with some strong disagreements until I employed a talking pillow, that's like a talking stick, so that each of us could finish what we had to say. Today, I will share some of my perceptions of our meeting. That's the end of my blurb. Before I even get to that, though, I haven't read for a long time my Tuts message of the day. There in the past, some months ago, I did take time to read some of those little sayings that come Monday through Friday from Mike Dooley. But today's message, I thought I would go ahead and read. Of course these are crazy times to be alive, Ron, when virtually anything could happen next. Fortunes are made and lost overnight, friends come and go, and lovers glimpse eternity between fear and ecstasy. That's why zillions upon zillions of souls, more than you will ever know, said, "No way, Jose." And it's why a few brazen billions said, "Woo-hoo!" You all have so much in common, the universe. And I didn't even read the next part of it. Let me scroll down and see what he says. Go, Ron, go. Virtually anything can happen next. It's just up to you. I didn't even read that till just now because he always puts the final clause, he puts it further down in the message. Anyway, we started out with people vehemently protesting the idea that we're going to be rescued by extraterrestrials or the Galactic Federation. One person in particular was very, very animated in his rejection of all such rescue scenarios. He sees things much more drawn out, as others did in the group last night, that it's not going to all happen in 2012, and that's just wishful thinking. So you see, folks, in my circle of friends, we're not all in agreement as to what we perceive the potentials being. As the Tuts message says, anything can happen. And certainly that's true. One of my other friends pointed out, Ron, you were telling us that everything was going to happen last year and nothing happened. Well, that's not exactly true, as I said last night, that nothing happened in 2011. But he's right. Things that I thought were going to take place, the geopolitical and economic shift that I expected to happen in 2011 hasn't happened yet. But I still believe it's going to happen. I still believe in Nasara, and others do not believe in Nasara. They believe that's a fairy tale, and that the Saint Germain Trust is a fairy tale, and angelic help and extraterrestrial help and the help of ascended masters. All of that is just New Age bullshit. That's basically what one person's opinion was last night. But the discussion was not going anywhere. It was basically almost a shouting match between a few people that wanted to get their point across of the metaphysical or New Age bullshit being nothing more than just warmed over Christianity of apocalyptic rescue from the cataclysm and stuff like that. And so finally I had to go out and get the talking pillow, so that we could at least take turns and have a semblance of unity, or of order in the meeting, because you just can't have people yelling back and forth at each other and we're all sitting in a circle, and it just doesn't work. And even with the pillow, some people were resisting the idea because they wanted to interrupt the person that was doing the talking. And this is what's happening in our world. This was just a microcosm of what's happening in our world. Everybody wants to get their point in, and the loudest people are the ones that get their point in, and the people that may have the most wisdom, and this isn't always true, but the people that may have the most wisdom are more courteous and therefore never get to say what they're going to say, because they're allowing everybody else to have their turn, and the people that are taking those turns aren't giving the other people a chance. So I was criticized at first for bringing the talking pillow in because it was seen as a control mechanism. Now you're trying to lay down the law that we're only allowed to talk one at a time. And yes, I was. And it worked out really well. So that 3/4 of the meeting anyway had some order to it, and everybody had a chance to share his or her vision of what they see happening. And the one consensus that I must admit that we all ended up agreeing on is that this is definitely a time when the onus of responsibility falls on the individual to do our individual growth, to do the work that it takes to integrate everything within ourselves. I mean, when I went last, so everybody else in the circle got a chance to go before me. And the ones that were showing such disagreement about the angelic and extraterrestrial stuff, that they thought that that's where it was going to go, and that's where some of the discussion was in the early part. Even the person who was most vehemently saying we're not going to be rescued was agreeing with me that there is great expectation placed on 2012 because of all the media attention, and because it's been building up to this for such a long time. There's been a focus in the general population around the world, and that fact alone is creating the expectation and the potential for tremendous things to happen, because people are expecting things to happen. And it's not just a few people here and there. I mean, it's a lot of people all over the place, and even the powers that be show definite signs of they're expecting something to happen, which is why they're all of a sudden trying to rush all of this stuff in to create their vision and version of a new world order, which is a total totalitarian domination system where freedom is basically eradicated, and they're trying to put the laws out there, especially in the United States, but it's not just in the United States, it's going on all over the world, where the powers that be and have been are trying to clamp down and control everything, and create war and create more conflict, and they're successful in many pockets. There's definitely conflict going on in the world. But the point is, everybody is expecting something to change, and even the people that claim they're not, nothing's going to happen, everything's going to be the same, and there are those too. I get those messages. Yes, I hear you. You're thinking nothing's going to happen. Everything is going to stay the same. We are what we are till the day that we die, as Larry Norman said. Nothing really changes. Everything remains the same. We are what we are till the day that we die. And I remember that from way back in the Jesus People days. Larry Norman was one of the first Christian rock stars. He actually started the Christian rock movement, I think, from San Francisco way back in the 60s. But anyway, 2012 is the year of potential for everything to happen because of, forget everything else, forget the planetary alignments, and not that they're not important, but just look at the human population. Look at where we are. Look at how many people are waking up to the conspiracies that heretofore had always been hidden. And people didn't know how the economic system of the world worked. People didn't know that politicians and people in offices of power would actually create black operations and do things like 9/11. People didn't believe that the government would ever put poison and be spraying poison in our air and putting poison in our water. People had no concept of this except for a relative handful. But because of the internet, because of Facebook, because of YouTube, because of all of these spy things that have been created to spy on us by the powers that be, they have been used in the exact opposite, for the exact opposite purpose of awakening everybody. So that now, yeah, the media, the mainstream media doesn't do their job. They're controlled by the money powers and the powers that be and the powers that want control. They're controlled by them. Yes, they are. But now there's an independent media in the internet so that everybody becomes a reporter. And it's instantaneous, instantaneous, instantaneous. The energies are all piling up on top of each other so that whether there's extraterrestrial influence or not, which I of course believe that there is, but whether that is or not, just within the human population, there is an energy of expectation. Whether it's the expectation is we're going to lose our hold on power, or there's going to be a shift that changes everything, there is an expectation that something is going to happen. And that has reached and is reaching a crescendo, and it's reaching a tipping point where the dominoes, as I said last night, the dominoes will fall one after another. I don't know what the big domino is going to be. I honestly believe it's going to have something to do with first contact, with disclosure of the fact that there are extraterrestrials. And the other thing that came out last night, big time, is people are still thinking, even in the group last night, people are still thinking in terms of separation. Well, it's us and them. Boy, that thing is not creating the fireball that it did yesterday. And that's okay. It's still burning. And it's okay. But anyway, where was I? Oh, my goodness. We are at a crossroads where we know something has to change. If it goes on the way it has gone on, 2012 could be a year of mass cataclysm and destruction. If the powers that be get their way and start the Third World War, which I don't believe is going to be possible, I don't believe that the economic system as we have known it is going to be possible beyond this year. Now, if I've learned anything over the past year, it's not to place great emphasis on any particular date. We're in a window of opportunity. But the window of opportunity is absolutely showing us at all levels of our human society that something is going to change, and it has to. We cannot continue as we've continued. As we've been going in the past, we cannot continue that process in the future. Something has to give. Now, I believe that we've already reached critical mass in the awakening. I believe we reached that. If we didn't reach it before last year, we at least reached it last year with all of the mass demonstrations and movements around the world. We at least got to it last year, and much of it was in the third world. I mean, in the first world countries. Much of it was in the United States and Europe. But it wasn't just there. It's throughout the Middle East and throughout Northern Africa, in the Mediterranean region. This is the cradle, at least, of Western civilization. I don't know how much made it to China, and it even made it to Russia, though. I do know that. I don't know how much was going on in Latin America, although Latin Americans have been revolting for a long time against Yankee influence, and good for them, those that do. I strongly support those that resist the American terrorists, because America has been used as the terrorist nation in the world, the first and foremost one, along with Great Britain and Israel, yes, but we are the terrorist nations. Our military is the terrorist military. And one of the things that I don't want to name names. One of the things that one of the people pointed out last night was that it's going to come down to a critical point in time when the police and the military in the United States are going to have to make up their mind which side they're on. Are they going to be for the people, or are they going to be for the criminals that are trying to operate this totalitarian and create this totalitarian system? And there's got to be a lot of awakening going on in the police community and in the military community. That has to happen. That has to be part of the shift. And I do see that coming into a sharp focus in 2012, where something is going to reveal to all the individual police and soldiers what they have to do. And they have to come out on the side of the people. They're going to have to. Now, the reason that they're kept in line right now is because this is my income. I can't jeopardize my income. I have to do what I'm told I'm supposed to do, because they're not going to pay me. They're going to fire me. And that's the big fear. That's the big fear that's going to have to be faced this year in 2012 by a lot of the people that hold these jobs. Because let's face it, folks, there's only at the most a few thousand people on this planet that are trying to create this totalitarian system. And they employ a whole bunch of other people, mushrooming that maybe into a few hundred million at the most, a few hundred million out of a population of 7 billion people. And that's not a big amount. But most of those people that they employ, it's not in their best interest to follow the orders of what they're told. And that has to come to a head in 2012. How it's going to happen, I don't know. But we're going to reach that tipping point where the dominoes start coming down, and it is going to be rapid. Quantum change is not the slow, gradual thing. We've been in the slow, gradual thing. We're reaching the crescendo. We're reaching the climax of this long period of evolutionary development. Yes, it's cyclical or spiraling. Yes, these ages come and go, looking at it from an astrological viewpoint. But this is the time when we have the opportunity to create the golden age. And it's something we're going to do together. It's something we must do together. Anyway, I just looked at the time, and I've gone to 18 minutes already, which it feels like I just started. I want to make this point before I close, though. It is up to each one of us to center ourselves, to start spending time knowing ourselves and getting spiritually grounded on this planet. That's why I do the 444. It's about grounding the energies. It's about bringing them into order. 4 is a way of ordering, and it's the 4th dimension that we're moving quickly through as we on our way to the 5th dimensional reality, which is the golden age, as I see it. But it is a personal, individual thing. And as we recognize that we are interconnected, not only with each other, but with all of life throughout the cosmos, as we realize that we are all bigger than what we think we are, as this, we're more than just this flesh and blood body, and more than just the mind and the thoughts that we think. We are more than that. And as we realize that, it's inevitable that huge changes are coming. And this is the year of expectation that is worldwide, that is everywhere. And yes, we, 7 billion, said, woo-wee, glad to be here. I leave you with these thoughts. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.